were report cards, crayon drawings, Father's Day cards made from construction paper. Margaret lifted out a particularly elaborate one, its surface covered in glitter that still shed onto her hands after 30 years. "To the best dad ever," she read aloud, her voice catching. "Love, David." "Margaret," Carmen said softly, "what happened 6 months ago?" The question pierced the dusty attic air like a shaft of unwelcome light. Margaret's hand stilled on the old card, and she found herself staring at the childish handwriting until it blurred before her eyes. "I made a mistake," she whispered finally. "At least, they say I did. I was trying to help." The mistake, as her children called it, had started with love, as most catastrophic family rifts do. Margaret lowered the glitter-covered card back into its box, her mind returning to that February evening when everything began to unravel. She'd received a call from Michael's wife, Rebecca, who was distraught about their mounting fertility treatment costs. 4 failed IVF attempts had drained their savings, and they were considering giving up their dream of having children. Margaret, sitting in her too-quiet house surrounded by photos of the grandchildren she already had but rarely saw, made a decision that seemed perfectly logical at the time. "I had the money," Margaret told Carmen, her fingers tracing patterns in the attic dust. "Almost 300,000 in my retirement account. They only needed 60 for 2 more tries. I thought it would bring us closer." What she didn't say was how she'd gone about it, how she'd liquidated part of her retirement account without consulting her financial advisor, the same one Sarah had insisted she use, how she'd written the check to the fertility clinic directly, wanting it to be a surprise, how she'd imagined the joy on Michael and Rebecca's faces, the gratitude, the renewed family bonds. Instead, there had been fury. Sarah had been the first to react, having somehow seen the transaction while reviewing Margaret's quarterly financial statements. A task Margaret hadn't requested, but that Sarah had taken upon herself after John's death. "Do you realize what you've done?" Sarah's voice had crackled through the phone. "That money was meant to support you for the next 20 years, and you just gave it away, without even discussing it with any of us." "It wasn't your money to discuss," Margaret had tried to explain. "And Michael didn't ask for this. None of us asked for this. God, Mom, this is exactly why we worried about you managing your own finances. This kind of impulsive